What it do? Welcome to another new episode of Technical File. Listen, not even gonna waste y'all time too much on this intro. We're gonna change the show format a little bit today because we got a lot of news to break down and get into. So let's start. Welcome to episode 327 of Technical File, the sports podcast you never knew you needed.
And it's your boy, TIMKINZ, the number 3, a.k.a. Ask Ketchum, a.k.a. Mr. Give It To Me. I like that one. That had a nice little ring to it, you know what I'm saying? A little ring to it.
I'm the Eric J.
Only known as
The Eric J.
And I'm Camille, point guard of the crew, the real life Tifa Lockhart, the girl next door, holding it down for all the women who love sports. Not with us this week. It's Kay Harris, the gentleman. I think he's still trying to come up with a new moniker, and that is why the man did not show up this week. No, I'm playing, but send love to Ken. He got to do some work and get some things done, so he's not joining us this week. So it's a TEC.
Saving the world.
Yeah, tech episode this week. No K this week. But man, like I said in the intro, there's so much to get to this week. So we ain't gonna hold y'all, but we do have a little housekeeping before we get into the swing of things here. So as a reminder, please share this show with a friend of yours, a coworker, Ken, whoever. Just share the show with somebody because we grow through y'all word of mouth. And we say it as a joke, but now that's like the new catchphrase of this podcast at this point. Show us what that word of mouth do because we are trying to grow. And people, listen, they're going to take y'all opinion a little bit more serious than they take our own because we own this show. So show us what that word of mouth do so we can keep growing Tech File in the future. Subscribe on YouTube if you have not already. Make sure you hit the notification bell. We go live every Tuesday around 7 p.m. Central Time. So if you join on the YouTube live, you can be part of the show, ask questions, we talk to you, interact with you, and all that good stuff. So yeah, subscribe, share, show us what that word of mouth do. We greatly appreciate it. Now, shout out to KG in the comments. First one here, AZ in the building. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you from coming through. Like I mentioned, this is going to be a little bit different of a show. Now, our normal format is we generally hit NFL, then we hit NBA, and then we hit pro wrestling news. The four of us always generally pick one topic in each of those categories. So we have 4 talking points for NFL, 4 talking points for NBA, 4 talking points for pro wrestling. This week, because today the Bucks fired their head coach, Adrian Griffin. And as you see, the 3 Bucks fans of the pod are here. Our Lakers fan, Ken, is not. We are going to be spending some time diving into that. So we decided to kind of truncate the show to allow for some more time for us to really dive into these topics. So instead of 4 topics underneath the NFL, 4 underneath NBA, 4 underneath pro wrestling, we're cutting that in half. We're doing 2 for NBA, 2 for NFL, 2 for pro wrestling. And we're going to kind of mix them up a little bit here. So without further ado, we might as well just get into it because like I mentioned, the Milwaukee Bucks fired head coach Adrian Griffin today. 43 games into the season. Joe Prunty has been named the interim coach while they look to hire a new coach, but all reports indicate that Doc Rivers is in the lead to be the next head coach. And the question I got for the fellas is, was this the right move for the Bucks? Tim, I'm going to start for you because I know you were super excited to get some of your Bucks takes off.
Okay. So, because it's alleged, it ain't done yet. Ain't no ink on no goddamn papers nowhere yet. Because it's alleged.
It's a wink and a gun, though.
Yeah, it's damn near done. Let's call a spade a spade. He probably gonna be our next head coach. But with Doc Rivers as our coach, or rumored to be the coach.
Rewind. Before you even get to Doc, Tim, hold on. Like, was firing Adrian Griffin the right move?
Yes.
Why?
Right now, it's interesting, but I would say, all right, let's put it like this. I'll give the Bucks credit for finding a. They could have taken what they believe to be a bad hire and just rolled with it for the rest of the season. They could have just saw it through, seen it through the playoffs, seen it through the postseason, get an early exit because it looked like, honestly, on what we're seeing versus what the paper says, we probably would have got bounced first or second round. I wouldn't have been surprised, honestly, if it was first. But give credit where it's due. They decided, hey, we took a bad hire. We recognize that. We're going to change that. We're halfway through the season, but we're pretty much like legit at the halfway point. It's 43 games.
43.
Like we're at the halfway point. So we still got at least 37 more games, 37, 38 more games to go. What my fear or concern is that if we make the same mistake twice in the same season, we don't accomplish anything. So I do say that it is more so sure, we're trying to right or wrong right away. It's not right away, but it's right away. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, especially because we got 30 wins. Like, most of the time, you don't see a coach with 30 wins, 13 L's get fired halfway through the season. But again, a testament to the Bucks because on paper, sure, we're 6 points better on offense than we were on defense. We're 6 points per possession for 100 possessions worse on defense than we were last year. So we're like instead of fourth, we're like 22nd in defense.
Yeah.
You're 6 points better, yes, because we expected offensively to be better. In essence, we went all in on offense this year. The problem and the reason why I say yes is because you were tasked with optimizing Dame and Giannis. Your whole point and the whole task with him, like after everything shook, and granted, yes, sure, he didn't walk into a situation where he had Dame in the first place. The whole thing was, if you can optimize Dame and Giannis on offense, everything else should kind of fall into place. It really shouldn't matter everybody else. Like, we'll figure out everybody else. But if we can get those two humming, we should be straight. We kind of sold on defense. Not kind of. We sold on defense. So your whole thing, even coming into it, I'm not really going to change much of what Bud did. I'm just going to tweak it. You changed what Bud did. And you tweaked it to the point we can't defend shit. We can't defend the three. We can't defend the paint. We can't defend floaters. We can't defend layups. We can't defend nothing. Pick your poison. At least with Bud, I know. At least with Bud, we picked our poison. We're going to not let you do shit on the interior. You're going to have to beat us by 3. We can't pick no poison. Everything we eat is just going to fuck us up. Whoever it is, it's just bad. Offensively, then, your goal is to make sure that we have continuity, make sure that we have chemistry, make sure that we are at least humming on offense on a regular basis, consistently. We had games where we like, oh my God, this is what we could be. But not one point in time during this season did we consistently be that team. Not one point in time during the season did we consistently get a Dame at optimal performance. Sure, he comes into the season with, I'm trying to work my way into my game shape during the season. But my guy, damn near, I think his effective field goal percentage is like he's 22nd or 26th in the league. He's down there with Russell Westbrook. Dang. And Katz is wrote Westbrook off. Like, now we're saying Dame is damn near in the same category, effective, like with his effective field goal percentage as Russ. That doesn't work. Giannis, sure, he ain't the best at short pick and rolls. Dame operates a little bit better with the ball, more so in his hands. But we've seen that they've been fighting on the court and probably behind the scenes because we've seen Dame wide open. Giannis standing next to him. He'd rather pull the 3 than give it to Dame. What the fuck? Things like dysfunction like that is part of the reason why he is gone. Things where it should be, okay, if we're going to say fuck the defense, let's just make sure we are that juggernaut on offense.
But here's the thing that's crazy about that, Tim. Adrian Griffin has never been the type of dude to come out and actually say F that defense. He's preached nothing but defense, and the team has not been able to execute. That's why that face. They haven't been good at it. They haven't been good at it. Like, he brought this aggressive trapping scheme because he wanted to force turnovers, and the Bucks are last in the league in forcing turnovers. Like, he's preaching it, and he's saying that's something that we have to be, good at, but it hasn't translated.
And to that point, and then I'll let you go, Eric J. I said it recently. I had text y'all in the group when that Cavs game was going on. Like I said, I'll leave it at this.
40-point blowout Cavs game?
The 40-point blowout Cavs game with everybody but Giannis playing.
Yeah.
Yes, that game. I said in the group, I said that one of three things must be true about this team and the coach. One, there really isn't an offensive or defensive plan in place. Two, or the players really not buying in that we really only winning on talent. Or three, they're following the game plan and it just fucking sucks. It's just terrible, bro. Like, they trying to do what he's telling them to do, and it's just not working. But based off of everything that we've seen so far, it sounds like there really wasn't an offensive or defensive plan in place in the first place. And two was true as well, because two things can be true at once, that we really were just winning on talent.
Yep. Both of those things were definitely true. Eric, I know you in particular, I've been waiting to hear your thoughts on this, because early on you brought up, I believe it's the Phoenix Suns comp, when they fired their coach pretty early on into the season, and you were saying at some point, sometimes it's better to just realize you were wrong and get up off of it and try to veer and find something else to do. But you were also of the same mind, saying like, but at this point it's only a week or two into the season, like it's too early for us to know yet. Well, now we're halfway through and he's gone, and I've been waiting to hear how you are feeling about this situation.
Yeah, I was gonna reference that tweet thread that I sent out. I looked it back. It was November 13th. So I think it was about a month into the season. And I won't rehash it because I said it on the podcast too. But yeah, like when the Suns hired Terry Porter, they recognized pretty early on, like, this isn't what we thought we hired. And they weren't afraid to make that decision pretty early on, even though, some people could preach patience and like maybe it gets better, but it's like on the flip side, maybe it gets worse. I'll also bring up another parallel to a different situation where a team made a change, where a successful team made a change, and that was David Blatt in Cleveland. David Blatt was first in the East. His second year in Cleveland, but like LeBron had seen enough, and like I say LeBron, but like then the organization had seen enough. Like they went through his first year when he was hired for a job that changed dramatically, within the first few months, and he wasn't really equipped to handle that type of team. It's unfortunate. Like, I feel bad on a personal level for Adrian Griffin, but he wasn't the right hire for the team that he was hired to coach. And like, yes, he can grow into, let me backtrack. Maybe he can grow into being a successful NBA head coach, but this isn't the type of job that you take to learn on the job. Like, they were under different pressure when they hired him, because like Giannis was going into he's going into the last year of a contract. And they needed to secure an extension. And there was a possibility that the team that he was hired to coach could have been like a last dance situation, and that was the last year, and then they pivot into a rebuild. That all changed when they traded for Dame and Giannis signed his extension. Then it's like, we have a title window, and you got to get better really quickly. And he didn't. Yeah. Like, there were numerous red flags, but the brightest one was Terry Stotts walking away from his job a week before the regular season started. Like, maybe it was just a difference of opinion, but it's like NBA coaches, NBA people, like these are finite jobs. Like, they don't just walk away from these jobs unless like it's something really rotten. So it sucks for him personally. It sucks that, this team wasn't able to figure it out under him, but I'm glad that they made this move now, as opposed to seeing the year through and just wasting a year of Giannis and Dame and Chris and Brooke, who only have so many years left. themselves, like you kind of got to do what you got to do.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And that was my thing around the hire of Adrian Griffin from the jump, where I was saying, like, it's a tough situation to walk into for a first-year head coach. Now, there are reports that have come out from Chris Haynes mentioning the fact that part of why he was hired is that the franchise was unsure about the direction they'd be going in. They weren't sure if they were going to be able to re-sign Chris. They weren't sure if they're going to be able to re-sign Brooke. They weren't sure if Giannis would sign an extension with this team. So they were like, hey, opportunity here for us to try out a first-year head coach. And let's keep in mind as well that he was somebody who Giannis was like, of the candidates, I like him the most. Like Adrian Griffin, that works out for me. So they went in this direction. You have a bombshell right before training camp with the trading of Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard, which your point of attack defense is out the window right there and right then. And I guess Eric, you're saying your first red flag was the Terry Stotts thing. And for me, I guess in retrospect, my first red flag was him saying Malik Beasley is going to be taking on the toughest defensive assignment every night. And I was like, wait, what? Who? Bees? That the dude we saw the Lakers bench last year in the playoffs? Okay, that's interesting. And it's not to say that Malik Beasley has been having a bad season, because as we've seen, he's one of the top 3-point shooters in the league offensively. Like, he has been great. The net ratings when the starting five is on the court have been phenomenal. No knock on him, but let's be real. Like, all the effort in the world can't change natural ability sometimes. And that just wasn't going to be a clean fit. I did not expect for the Bucks to fire their head coach before All-Star break, before a trade deadline. I really thought that they would give him at least a full year to see if they could do it. If anything, because to be fair to Griffin, part of the reason this isn't working is roster. The personnel isn't all the way there. The Bucks still do need to make some personnel switches, in my opinion. They still do need a point of attack defender on this team. Switch the coach if you want to, but you also need to up that personnel to fit a little bit better around them. And I do think you can have a head coach come in, better utilize what Dame and Giannis do offensively, so on and so forth. But like, there's only so much a coach can really implement in a season when they're coming in halfway through it. NBA teams and players already complain about the fact that they don't have much time to practice during the regular season. And now you're bringing in a brand new head coach halfway through. There's really not going to be much time to implement or to train up a new system. Like, best case scenario is like you just kind of tweak around the edges and try to make changes that can be done pretty quickly with this team. So I don't know. It's interesting. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that's the benefit of having such a veteran team, is that you kind of can use shortcuts and shorthand to kind of make these adjustments on the fly. I don't disagree. Like, I do think that they have personnel issues. Like, the roster composition isn't what's needed to, especially in light of trades that have happened recently. Like, it's not
Terry.
The roster still needs to be tweaked to kind of match up with those teams. But also, I think that the coaching staff thus far hasn't maximized what the Bucks do well.
That's fair.
Or mitigated what they do poorly.
That's fair.
And those are things that I think can be tweaked mid-season. Like, I don't think you junk everything, because again, like we said early on in the season, this is a team that was built to play bud ball. Like, there are only so many pitches that they can throw. So, like, what the skeleton is, and I would imagine that they run more pick and roll if Giannis buys into it. And then on defense, like, they just tighten up their screen navigation and communication. Like, those are things that I don't think need to be installed in a preseason or a training camp. Like, those are things that it's just like, we have to commit to it. We have to know clearly what our plan is, which is something that numerous players have kind of highlighted in media sessions over the last month or two, which is like, I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can see that.
I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what like, those are things that come from the top down, and it's like, communicate that effectively to the team, make sure everybody gets on the same page, and go from there. So whoever the coach is, not knock, wink, wink. I think that those are things that they can clean up coming in midstream.
Yeah, and let's not bury that lead because, as mentioned, Doc Rivers is the name that's being thrown out there as somebody who the Bucs are looking at as their top candidate for this. And what was interesting about the news around the dismissal of Adrian Griffin was learning that Doc Rivers has already been working with this franchise since they were in Vegas for the in-season tournament. He has been already familiar with the team. He has been advising Griff. So it's kind of like the Bucs have had just a history of just weird transitions from coaches. It's always kind of messy in some way, some shape, some form.
GM too.
I mean, like we had Larry Drew at the public market with Jabari Parker talking about how great this was, and then that man was gone within a week.
I think within a day.
I was trying to be kind.
No, I was gonna say, sorry, Tim. I know you're gonna get something in, but I was gonna say this is the second time that the Bucs ownership group has fallen for the dirty Mac. Like they already got a girl, and then like somebody whisper in their ear, you know, I can do better than her. Like, you know what? You can do better than them. And it's like, you don't break up first. You just hire the coach. Because, like, I'm not convinced that this all just came together today and, like, they hadn't reached out to Doc Rivers and they weren't sure if he's going to take the job. And they're just now getting into the conversations. But, like, no. This is locked in. And, like, for Doc Rivers to be consulting the dude and then take his job, like,
30
I'd have to throw hands if I was Griff, personally.
And that's just disgusting.
Tim, before I throw to you, KG had a quick comment which you saw in the Chris Haynes article saying that Jeff Van Gundy and Nate McMillan names are in the coaching picture as well. The Athletic reported that if things didn't work out with Doc Rivers, another name to keep in mind or keep an eye on for the Bucs is Kenny Atkinson. So, Tim, I know you've had some other thoughts you want to talk about in regards to Doc Rivers coming in and all of the other coaching of who might fill this role now.
I'm gonna just, if y'all don't mind, I'm gonna do a quick ISO, clear out real quick. I'll make it quick. I'll make it quick. So let me start off by saying the Bucs didn't have time to fool themselves with the regular season record. Like when they traded for Dame, it became a championship or bust team from the jump. This is not a championship team right now. So they got proactive. They started making moves based on the heightened expectation of what we were expecting for the season, either a championship or bust. So rather than the general standards that a number 2 seed with a 30-win coach would bring, and rightfully so, because, most other fans, if they were the number 2 seed, and most other teams, if they're number 2 seed, they're not tripping about the coaching. They're not tripping about the on-field product or the on-court product and everything like that. Rightfully so. But when the standards change from having a good year to this is our year or not, I hate to sound like the Cowboys, but this is our year or not. You had a lot of fans give grace to the coach and the fan base and the ownership itself when you have the number 2 seed in the East. We don't have that time to play around with the regular season record. We're more so concerned about the postseason. Hell, even working with Bud, we realized that the regular season, okay, you can work through things during the regular season, but we're really trying to get to this chip. Doc Rivers and big name coaches, big name retread coaches will never go away. It will never not be a thing. And maybe all the Bucs need is someone who's good at managing superstars. But Rivers isn't exactly a creative offensive mind, which we all would agree that's really what we need right now. Because at the end of the day, we don't have the personnel for the defense. We don't have the personnel for top 5, top 10 in the league in defense like that, unless they truly buy into being two-way players on both ends. And these are a bunch of more so offensive-minded players than defensive-minded players. So you need someone who's going to come in and not just be good at getting offensive opportunities or creating a good offense for us. You damn near have to be perfect. You damn near have to perfect it because we're giving up so much on the defensive end, and that has everything to do with the GM and the front office, not necessarily the coach. But the GM and the personnel that we have, you have to damn near lean all the way into the offensive side to make it as efficient as possible. So I'll put it like this. We bet on the fact that the trade-off for the Bucks was simple on this one. Lillard's offense has to be worth more than Holiday's defense, because Holiday's offense is still better than Dame's defense. Does that make sense?
No, I hear what you're saying. I mean, they always say the saying is good offense always beats good defense. That is the saying.
But it's at the point where if our trade-off was supposed to be, okay, we're going to get Dame, which is going to be so much better on offense that we're willing to give up Drew's defense. Well, in essence, they call it a wash. Drew's defense is elite. Dame's offense is elite. But we feel like Dame's offense will offset what Drew's defense is lacking. But the problem with that is Drew's defense is so elite, and his offense is still way better than Dame's actual defense. You have to lean all the way into that. You said what, Eric?
Oh, I was just saying, I don't think it's necessarily 1-to-1. Like, I think that Drew can be the greatest defender that ever lived, and like Dame can just be a great offensive player, and his offense is still worth more than Dame's defense or Drew's defense. But like, also, I think that I don't think that they necessarily need creative offense. I think that they have a very clear like, hey man, just get this one thing working that unlocks everything else. Like, just figure out the way to unlock the Dame Giannis pick and roll, which again, like, can be partially just Giannis needs to buy into being a screen setter and a roller. Like, not only like he's Giannis, you don't want to just put him in that box, but like I think part of it is like he's not sure when to roll, when to pop, when to slow roll, when to sit in the pocket, when to just get out the way. Like, that part needs to be figured out. And I don't think that necessarily takes an offensive genius. I think it just takes somebody to be like, hey, you go do this. Mm-hmm. When he does this, you do this. When you do this, he does this. Like, they need to figure out that synergy. Like, there's a disconnect there, and we've seen it pretty much the entire season. In spite of that, they still have the number 2 offense in the league. So, like, correct. Again, you don't have to be perfect to be better than everybody else.
Yeah.
And like the defense, I think the expectation was that, yes, there will be a hit, but they had the foundation there from years prior. They have 2 of the best interior defenders in the league. Like, it should only fall far. You said what?
That's it. That's it. Because when you employ a Dame and a Malik Beasley backcourt, you're not asking to play defense. You're walking into a non-defensive backcourt.
I'm saying that the hit that they expected to take wasn't to 22nd. It was to like 15th, 12th, 20th at worst. But like, to be a bottom 10 defense and to really play worse than that, like, the thing that's saving them is like they have these spurts, like usually with the starters at the end of the game when they've kind of been fucking around all day. And then they're like, all right, we can turn on defense for a couple minutes. And then they like blow people out in crunch time. And it's like, they have a baseline there that is shown, like, when they're engaged, they're at least competent, borderline, like decent. Yeah. The thing is, like, they don't have that throughout the course of the game. So, like, again, like, the failure wasn't that he wasn't. Let me rephrase this. The failure was that he didn't meet expectations, and they didn't think that there was a pathway to him meeting those expectations because he had lost the team.
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, if you think about our bench, you think about our starters, you think about our bench, and you think about the defense that we're expected. Again, we was expected to take a drop back, but not this big of a drop back. But then, if you come off the bench with Campaign or Pat Connaughton or Bobby Portis or AJ Green, or you know what I mean? Like, we don't have people on the. We have Giannis, Brooke. Chris has done lost a step, so it's like you don't have 3 on offense with the starters. You don't have none really on defense except for Jay Crowder and Ajax. You have nobody else.
But here's
literally
here's the thing with that, and we can kind of wrap up the Griff talk and move on. The Bucks are designed. They're a top heavy team, right? So they're designed for the starters to carry the load. I do not expect the Bucks bench to be one that is outscoring other benches. What I expect from the Bucks bench is for them to get into the game and not blow the lead that the starters help to build. That's it. That's the bare minimum. Don't blow it until our starters can get back into the game. And the Bucs bench has not been able to do that at this point. So that's part of the problem. And again, I do think there's some personnel things they still need to address before the trade deadline. Interesting with Horst trying to pull that off and them signing a new head coach. So there's a lot of moving parts for this team right now. But my uncle Michael said something that was really interesting to me like last week. And he was like, I think the Bucs are the Philadelphia Eagles, where yeah, you got a good record right now, but the way you got there, like it didn't look good. And as time went on, the crack started to show, and then it broke. And you saw them get put out of the postseason very early. And he was like, if they keep Griffin, I think they're going to end up being like the NBA version of the Philadelphia Eagles. It's really great that the Bucs have a 30-13 record at this point in the season, given the fact that the defense has been so disjointed. And offensively, they've just been relying on their talent because, as they've mentioned, they haven't been schemed well on either side of the ball. And they have also played a very easy schedule up to this point. The Bucs have one of the toughest schedules to end the season. So I'm glad they were able to build up, their record in the standings, but there is some monster games coming up for them to end the season. So they have to be ready for this. And Griff is gone, like we mentioned. Griff is out of the door because the Bucs have been underwhelming with their play. Yes, they have the record, but if you look at the process, it doesn't align. Like the process doesn't look like a good process to get the results you want. So the Bucs are pivoting off of that, saying, hey, I know we have results right now, but how we're getting to them is not sustainable. We need to do something. So that's where we are at this point in time. The reports are going to keep coming in, and players were like, they mentioned they were going to be patient, but we're halfway through the season. And as you can see, they're not getting any better at this point. So like something had to shake. I just didn't think I think the Bucs were going to actually pull the trigger. Like I just didn't think they were going to do it. I thought they would have a little bit more patience, but they have clearly said like, nope, we're with everybody on this team and we're trying to get to a championship as quickly as we possibly can. So a day here in Milwaukee around those Bucs. A day.
Real quick to Jeff's point, he said it earlier. Giannis also didn't want to play with Nick Nurse, but look how much better Philly is with Nick Nurse now. Like, look how much better they're playing. Look how much better they look. Period. Like,
but man, you also point to it's about fit. Like, he fits what Joel Embiid probably wants from a coach. He doesn't fit what Giannis necessarily wants from a coach. And like, you're not gonna get the same level of buy-in from a Giannis that didn't want that guy as his coach as you do from Embiid, who was more in line with it. Like, personalities matter in these situations.
Shit, sometimes you got to work with a motherfucker and realize that, you might be all right. You might not like him at first, but you might be all right.
I know, but like I said, like if you're pessimistic going in, like you never give him a chance to be all right. So like,
never give him a fair shake. So that is what it is. And Jeff said that the Bucs don't make this move if they don't have a coach lined up.
They got Dirty Mac.
Dirty Mackin.
Boy, I hate that shit. I ain't gonna hold you. We was watching some trash TV show. I'm like, bro, Dirty Mackin his way all the way to the end. And guess what? We got the reunion. Them motherfuckers won together. He Dirty Mackin his way into it. I hope that's not the case with the Bucs, but damn, Dirty Mackin usually don't pan out because once you're done talking shit about me, what do you offer?
Hey, listen, even if it's a quick working out with a quick championship, I'm good with that. I don't have to work out too much. Like, give me another ring. I'm good. But yeah, that was some surprising news. When the Woj bomb went off and I saw the Milwaukee Bucks, I thought it was going to be a trade announcement, and instead, it was news about the head coach being fired. And I know Wisconsin sports fans, there's a Venn diagram, of course, between Bucks fans and Packer fans. There's a lot of overlap between those two subsets. And I'm sure there are Packer fans who were wishing that they got some news about a certain coach being fired.
We waiting. It's going to come. God damn it.
I don't know, Tim. I truly don't know. But listen, the Green Bay Packers went from a 2-5 team to the NFC divisional round during a rebuilding year. They did lose to the 49ers 24-21 to end their season. And I just have one question from y'all, because the game was on Saturday. There's a lot to talk about from the game. The Packers were in position to win the game. They didn't. And that just showed to me a difference between a young team and an experienced team that's favored for a reason. The 49ers had advantage and opportunities, and they took advantage of them, and the Packers dropped theirs. It just happens that way. But the question I have for y'all is, what is your biggest takeaway about the Packers from this season going forward? Because again, from 2-5 to a divisional round playoff game that they were in control of for most of it, what do you take away from this Packers season?
Before I get to the macro, I do just want to say, like, for all the consternation about missed field goals and interceptions in the second half, where they lost that game was in the first half when they had 3 shots in the red zone and walked away with 6 points.
Can't go 2-5 in the red zone in the playoffs.
Kicker should have made his kicks, but like also you got to take advantage of those opportunities, especially when you're overmatched by, from talent and experience.
Wait a second, dang, Jeff, you made $5,000 on the Packers. Took the points. I'm glad you made some money off of it. I'm glad someone got a victory this weekend. I'm glad to see it.
But yeah, with that being said, like we've said it pretty much since training camp. It's like this year is about making sure that we have the guy for the future at quarterback, and in that regard, really.
Conspiracy brother Tim coming out. He had to go put a hood on.
Hey, wouldn't be us if we didn't.
All right. Finish yours there. And I got to hear what conspiracy brother down there thinking about.
We have our quarterback. We have our coach, head coach. The position players are show promise. Adrian still got Adrian Griffin on the brain. I'm sorry. Aaron Jones, bring him back, whatever it costs. But like I honestly echo what Dustin said. It's like I've had more fun watching these last couple months than I had the last few years with Rodgers. And that's the thing about, honestly, like it kind of ties back into our last conversation, which is like teams with expectations, like winning titles is fun, but like it's less fun watching like game to game, watching the process than it is like worrying about the results at the end. So it's like I have much more fun when there are low expectations, no expectations. It's like, we're rebuilding, we're seeing these young guys. Like that's the fun part of the fan cycle. Like once you get to like we should be winning titles, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? Like that takes the joy out of it. So like this was the funnest year, back half of a Packers season that I've had in a long time. And I'm looking forward to the future. Like I hope Detroit enjoys this little run that they having, because like unless they win the title going into next year, the Packers gonna be the favorite in the NFC North.
All right, Tim.
There's really a little title on that one, goddammit.
Now, if you are new here to Tech File, every so often when we have a conspiracy that we think is afoot, you got to put your hood up, and you got to be conspiracy brother. So, Tim, what's your takeaway from the Packers that got you thinking conspiracy?
Wait, let me reiterate first.
Wait. Is it conspiracy naysayer now?
Nah. We could be conspiracy naysayers for sure. But first off, let me just reiterate what Ken said. The future is bright. To answer your question, Camille, the original question, the future is bright with the Packers. I am happy. Well, hold on. Let me. I'm happy with what we got going on. We have a young squad that will literally grow together. The only problem with growing together, though, is if everybody's eating, we got to pay every damn body. We ain't gonna be able to pay everybody. So we got to. Our window is probably this rookie contract window. So probably the next 3-4 years. Because after that, Cat's gonna need to get paid. I think Dobbs and Watson got 2 years left before we have to pay them anyways. Maybe a year, because fourth year is usually an option or whatever the case may be, because neither one of them was first round pick. So but neither here nor there. Well, that counts. But I like the team. I love the team. I love the squad. Our offense is young. Our offense it's gonna be electric, bro. Like everybody have to get used to. Pretty much the entire offense had to get used to being in the league this year, outside of a couple linemen and Aaron Jones. Other than that, the entire offense had to get used to being in the NFL this year, like as a starter. From
Watson and Dobbs, though.
Watson was hurt a lot last year,
but he played.
Yeah,
they were the best. Remember,
he played with Aaron. Aaron he had his own shit.
Alright,
Dobbs had his own shit with Aaron too. Like Aaron was out there.
Brother,
I'm not gonna give you the ball if you ain't running the right route the rest of the damn game. Shut your ass. You cost us some damn games, motherfucker. Anyways, the defense. I'm curious to see where we go on the defensive side of the ball because we have some bets on defense. Most of our bets is on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
And some of these cats making some money. So we'll see kind of what the restructures go, things of that nature. We probably gonna get rid of Bakhtiari this all season for sure. I'm damn near like he probably gonna end up with Aaron somewhere. But back to what I was talking about though.
Conspiracy brother. The hood back up, y'all. If you on audio only, the hood is back up.
Let me close this motherfucker up a little bit. I am with you. Me and you and a couple of us in our group, we were talking throughout the game. So not at no point in time or another did we actually blame the refs for the game. There were different points where we were like, damn, y'all niggas need to wrap up. Y'all need to go ahead and make sure y'all sure tackling these cats, things of that nature.
Now
but
we did
really
call the ref out. We said
we called the ref out,
but we didn't.
It may have been a play.
The Packers lost. Eric
right, but my whole thing.
I remember some complaints.
So we had a couple. It was a couple who like something don't seem right here, like the spotting of the ball. That was a lot of our complaint. Like, damn, y'all spotting the ball wrong, shit like that. I don't say that the refs is the problem for the game. I'm not with the cats that like, the refs is the whole reason why we lost the game. No. But I do not remove the refs at all. Because of the fact that there were several different opportunities for us to actually continue our momentum where things did change. 4th and 1, for example. Yes, we could have kicked the field goal. Were they offsides on 4th and 1? Yes, they were. If they called the offsides on 4th and 1, do we continue at the 15, 20-yard line? Yes, we do. We continue that momentum. We carry that momentum. We still eat up the clock. And who knows, we might actually score a touchdown or actually kick the field goal. We get those 3 points if that was called. It was blatant. That removes the ball. Next thing you know, it's a 7-point swing because they score on that drive. Oh, speaking of that drive, was there a intentional grounding call that could have been called?
Yep.
Should have been called. That goes 15 yards back. That loses a down too.
Would have ended the drive for him.
Would have ended the drive. They don't score that George Kittle touchdown. There was a Christian McCaffrey touchdown that we was like, damn, these motherfuckers really need to catch up. Oh, wrap up. There was a block in the back that could have been a second tackler because Christian McCaffrey got tripped up on that first person. No, he didn't wrap up, but he did get tripped up. The second person that came through to try to tackle him, he got pushed in the back. Christian gone, wide open up the field. Not saying the refs had nothing to do with the game or they were the only reason why we lost because we did have several opportunities. Savage should have took that shit back to the house. We should have had another pick later on in the game. We should have kicked the fucking field goal. Motherfucking kickers. I got something for their ass later, too. Actually, I got something for their ass right now. I got something for their ass right now. Your job is to kick the ball. I coached football for at least 4 years. I had a kid 1 year come to me and say, hey, I just want to kick the ball. I don't want to tackle. I don't want to hit nobody. I don't want to get hit. All I want to do is kick the ball. I play soccer. I just want to kick the ball. We had a kid that could kick 30-yard field goals at 10. At 10, he went on to play high school football. Guess what he was? A fucking kicker. He went to go play college football. Guess what he was? A fucking kicker. You know what happens every time with kickers? You have one shot. You are under pressure every single kick. You don't get 2 to 3 to 4 kicks and chances like that, like offense or defense. You don't get that. You have one kick. You have one shot. The pressure literally is on you every single kick.
Yep.
So for you to come out there and people are like, oh man, he was just under pressure. No, every kick throughout his entire career has been under pressure. He didn't just go to college like, you know what, I'm gonna just be a kicker today and became a NFL kicker. No, he's been doing the same shit his entire career. Same reason why they don't give quarterbacks excuses when they get to the league. They gonna light your ass up. They light kickers' ass up. Not saying that death threats and shit like that. Y'all doing too much with that shit. It's a game at the end of the day. Like, y'all need to really relax with that shit. But as a career choice, you decided to kick the ball. We asked you to come out and do one thing. Kick the goddamn ball through the uprights.
But like, is that like, yes, he's at fault, but also is that a failure of coaching? Like
yes. Because they stuck with
had a very large sample size of him missing a whole bunch of kicks.
And they said, hey, we'll let it go. He's a rookie. Now, fuck that.
Now, What I will say to that is coming into the season, again, rebuilding year, a development year. And what you expect from these young players is for them to make mistakes and for them to grow. Now, with this team, initially, I just kept saying, I can't wait to see what they look like next year once they get past all of these little mishaps. But the offensive skill position players, and people don't give enough love to the young defensive dudes as well, who have been making an impact. Wooden, Brooks, Wyatt, like the defensive line, the young defensive linemen, like they were doing their thing. So you expect for them to grow. And over the season, you saw the young defensive skill players grow. You saw the offensive skill players grow. But Anders Carlson did not his growth did not match up with the rest of his team, right? So as things happen, expectations change. So one can argue, hey, LaFleur, you saw this was a problem. You should have done something earlier. And the other half of it can be like, well, they knew what they were doing and they signed up for that this year.
I think that even if you believe in him long term, like you can still be like, hey, like come back next year, get your mechanics right, do whatever that you need to do. Like even if you need to fake an injury and put him on IR, like bring it, at least be trying out kickers. Like it just seemed like they were just like, well, this is what we got, so we just gonna keep rolling with it. Like that man missed kicks in 10 out of the last 12 games.
Yeah,
10 out of 12.
And here's the thing too, like in the offseason, you better bring in some real comp for this kicker. Like if he can't out kick whoever y'all bring in and don't draft the kicker, please.
Oh, no.
I was
he
like,
drafted his ass.
I was confused when they drafted him in the first place because his college numbers weren't great either. So it's like, what do you see? I know it's the leg strength. That's the answer.
Yeah, Shelton. Yeah, his brother played for the Raiders.
Yeah,
his brother's nice.
I get it, but we're too much talking about Anders Carlson right now. He got to be better.
Yes. Let me. That was my quick. But
yeah, I see a lot of comments in the comments talking about the spots. Like the spots were egregious on numerous occasions.
Boy,
I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah,
I always go back to like the conspiracy part of it. I don't even know. Did you get to your conspiracy yet?
That's what I was wondering.
Oh yeah. That's all. I gotta finish it because I'm getting hot.
What's the conspiracy, brother?
Everybody else seen it. Well, a lot of people have seen it and been talking about it. So I just ignored it. I tried to ignore it. So let's hit the actual conspiracy. Before the game, the day or two before the game, San Francisco News was promoting Reba McEntire, Post Malone, and Usher for the halftime game. That game featured the San Francisco 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens. Well, they also have the colors for the Super Bowl as the San Francisco 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens. It is with the league conspiring to make sure that the San Francisco 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens make the goddamn Super Bowl. Because ain't no way in hell y'all seen that whole officiating crew the whole game doing the most egregious non-calling bullshit, face mask not being called, late hits, refs standing there looking at them. They ain't calling nothing.
For someone who said they don't like to blame the refs, it sure do sound like you blaming the refs for a
20-minute diatribe.
I'm blaming the league. The league. This is conspiracy, brother. 1.0. The original.
Timothy, what benefit does the NFL have to putting the 49ers
viewership?
The 49ers over the Packers.
Listen,
viewership.
The Cowboys last week.
Hey, fuck the Cowboys. Don't nobody give a shit about them. They be playing like the American team. Don't nobody give a shit about them.
All right,
don't nobody give a shit about them.
All the Niners on TV. Like, there's no conspiracy there. Ain't no reason.
You got your conspiracy off. I'm gonna reel it back, and I'm gonna go back to actually answer the question. Go ahead, take your hoodie off, brother. The initial question again was, what was the biggest takeaway from Green Bay this season after watching them? Right, that man we went on the whole ride real quick with him.
I'm back.
But for me, the biggest takeaway from this season was that Goody is going to need another solid draft class, because although we're out of the shackles from some of the salary cap hell the Packers were in this season, they still are in a little bit of hell next season as well. They don't have a lot of free agent money, and they're going to need to hit on another draft class. And if you look at the last two, like we mentioned, you're seeing those young skill players develop. I mean, the 2020 draft in itself is already a success because you found a quarterback in it. I don't care who else you drafted in that draft. You got Jordan Love. You got a quarterback. That draft is a success. All right. You also had John Runyon Jr. in there, who is probably going to end up playing for the team. 2021, you got like Josh Myers. You have Isaiah McDuffie, who came on late. Eric Stokes has had some bad injury luck. I'm not sure what the future looks like for him. 2022, you're getting contributions now from Quay Walker, from Devontae Wyatt, Christian Watson. Sean Ryan seems like he's going to have a bigger role next year. Romeo Dobbs, Zach Tom, Kingsley Angabare. Like Rasheed Walker, a 7th round tackle, was our starting left tackle, and he looks like he's going to be able to maintain control of that job. Good draft. Last year, Lucas Van Ness, Luke Musgrave, Jaden Reed, Tucker Kraft, Kobe Wooden, Dontavian Wicks, Carl Brooks. Like, there are some names that we're like, these are guys who are going to be able to make an impact. And for this team next year, they're going to have to have another good draft because there's not going to be a lot of help free agent wise. And like Tim did mention before the 49ers rant, the window is starting to open for this team quicker than I'm sure a lot of people thought that it would. So let's now expectations are changing. Now people are going to expect for the Packers to be good next season. And this is a team that after you lose that way, like the Packers were able to experience a very thrilling playoff victory. Great experience going down to Dallas, getting a big win. And then they also got to feel losing a game that you had in control for most of it, that you know in your heart you should have won. Had you not, as a Jordan Love, had you not missed, throws. The throw gets tipped. It's an interception now. Had you and Aaron Jones been on the same page where Aaron Jones is still running, but you thought he was going to sit down, you're going to deliver right there. Miscommunication. On defense, missing tackles, not wrapping up. On defense, missing interceptions. Like, these are things you carry with you, missing kicks. Everybody who had a reason into why this team was not able to win, you carry that in the offseason and you attack the offseason. Like, that's my takeaway from this year is that you need another strong draft class and you need these young guys to keep working. Like, this was great experience, but nothing is guaranteed. We thought when the Packers won that first Super Bowl in 2010 with Rodgers, like, oh, we young, we going to be back. We're going to get a bunch of these with him. Favre gave us one. Rodgers going to give us a couple. We got one. Nothing is guaranteed. You got to work for it. So that's my biggest takeaway from the Packers season. I had a lot of fun with it, even with the early frustrations. I think that's part of what made the latter half of the season even more fun because you're watching guys like a Tucker Kraft, who I think was the most improved player on the Packers team this season, from where he came in at camp to where he finished the season, from the blocking to the route running to the catching. And we know tight end is one of the hardest positions to learn coming into the league and adjusting. So that's my takeaway. I'm very excited for the future of the Packers, but nothing is guaranteed. They're going to have to work for it.
I'm going to have 2 quick comments. One, I think it might have been Peter Bukowski on Twitter. It was somebody on Packers Twitter, but like they pointed out that with NIL and COVID years, it's kind of contributing to, maybe it was Mark, I don't know, it was somebody, but it's contributing to like it actually drafts not being as deep, especially this year, just because so many people have gone back to school, people are staying because of money or because they got the extra year of eligibility. But I have faith in the front office because they've been finding gems like all over the board. Like Valentine was what, a 7th round pick, and that might be your starting cornerback next year. KG Simon Jones, like he's special. The other one was with Jordan Love sitting for 3 years. They already they don't get like those gravy years that some teams get where it's like you got the quarterback on the cheap contract so you can just like load up on free agents, San Francisco. So like he, unfortunately we have the privilege of going right into we got to pay for a top tier quarterback again.
You can pay it this summer too.
Yeah. Which also like made me think like 49ers. Good luck when you got to pay Purdy. That's all I'll say. Because I don't know if he's the type of quarterback that's going to be able to like lift up a team when he's making like 30% of the salary cap.
Yeah, we're going to see. Real quick, some comments. Will they re-sign Jones or let him go at 29? After what he showed, I think you got to re-sign Jones, figure out a way to get that cap number to be reasonable for them to keep him. And then Dustin asked, does A.J. Dillon have a future in Green Bay? I salute A.J. for what he has done, but I do think that his time with the Green Bay Packers is up. I talked about the draft. What I hope they do is that the Packers draft another running back, someone a little bit more in that Aaron Jones mode that's dynamic, shifty, speedy, can catch up the backfield, something like that, because you see the difference that having a back like, and again, I'm not saying you can find another Aaron Jones that easily. He's one of the best running backs the Packers have had, but that skill set, I think, is what you need in this offense. Any other last Packer thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, I got two. Aaron Jones is still on the contract with us next year. After next year, he's free. So for his 2024 contract, he's gonna make $11 million next year. He's supposed to make $23,000 per game, active bonus. So from 22 to 24. So we still have him one more year. He signed his 4-year contract in 2021. So 21, 22, 23, 24. So we still have him next year. Next year is gonna be the year. His 30-year-old year is his last year.
But to that point, we weren't sure if he was even coming back this season because of because of that cap number. Like, he could get cut. They could do a lot of different things to get him off this team in the offseason. But I think the best course of action is to figure out a way to make that cap number reasonable for both parties and find a way to get him back in the green and gold.
Yeah, because it balloons so this year his cap number was $7.8 million. Next year his cap number is 17.
Right, because they were pushing it forward. They got to restructure something. So, all right, your second point.
Even though we only got one with Aaron and Fire, we still got more than them goddamn boys in recent memory. Fuck them. Oh, and the Bears. Can't forget them. I'm sorry, can't forget them. But go Lions. Actually, I don't have no problem with rooting for the Lions.
Me either.
I have no issue rooting with the Lions. I don't fuck with the Vikings. I don't fuck with the Bears. I don't fuck with the boys, but I have no problem rooting for the Lions. Go Lions.
Same. All right.
Oh, but that was my outside the norm.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't root for them. I ain't got no quarrels with no Lions.
Yeah. Well, typically I'm like, if we lose to a team, I want that team to win. Just to, we lost to the champs. No, fuck them. Fuck that. No. I'm rooting for the Lions on this one. Like, I know we lost to the 49ers, and yeah, we may not have lost to the eventual champs, but on this one, I'm with the Lions on this one. And maybe it's because of my love for Barry Sanders. Like, he was my favorite back. He was my favorite player, like, in the NFL history. Like, Lions ain't never had shit. They ain't never been shit. So now that they actually got some shit going on, I kind of, I'm rooting for you.
Shella in the comments, that's a Lions fan, says she's selling blue Kool-Aid for $5, just so everybody knows.
That's expensive ass Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy a package for like 79 cents, I think. But all right, let's move on.
That's me. So on the AFC side, the Chiefs beat the Bills 27-24. I think this is the third time
sure is.
The Chiefs have beaten the Bills in the playoffs.
3-3.
What's it gonna take for Josh Allen to get over the Patrick Mahomes hump? Because
Mahomes to retire.
God damn, they even had home field advantage this time. We couldn't beat them.
Correct. This was Mahomes' first road game in the playoffs, which is wild to say. His first road game. That's not in the Super Bowl because that's the neutral site.
Yep. In
the playoffs, and that was his 16th start in the playoffs. That was his first road game at y'all crib.
Hey, Jeff summed it up perfectly. The Bills go from losing to Brady to losing to Mahomes. It's tough sledding.
Shit, you go back further than that. They go from losing to the boys to losing to the Patriots to losing to Mahomes. Like, that's a cursed place, man.
It ain't meant to be, bro. Y'all put on the show until it's time to go to the show.
I will say, Josh Allen gets more sympathetic coverage for somebody who can't win in the playoffs than anybody I've ever seen in my life. Oh, it's not Josh Allen's fault. It's like, it's never anybody's fault, really, but like you heap blame on him nonetheless.
He was balling that game, though.
He's awesome. I'll take Josh Allen every day of the week. It's like, okay, so you cool with losing to the Chiefs every day of the week? Because like, that seems to be like the bargain that you make it.
Now, to be fair, but it's a team sport, right? the Buffalo Bills lost. I do think that Josh Allen himself had a good game against the Chiefs. There were 2 big drops there that definitely changed the course, and he underthrew a possible touchdown pass in that game. So he had a good game, but Josh Allen reminds me of like a kind of Brett Favre-ish, where it's like the turn, like the gunslinger, like you gonna get some turn, you gonna get some interceptions, but I got an arm, so you can also see
that bucket in him.
Some marvelous touchdowns. Jordan Love got some of that in him too. That's what we saw to end that game. It was a big Brett Favre throw. I've seen Brett Favre make that throw quite a few times, and they always ended that same way. But I digress. Josh Allen, I don't know what it's going to take for Buffalo to get over this hump, but as long as the Buffalo Bills do have Josh Allen, they're going to have a shot. That's the thing with a quarterback, because to Shella's point in the comments, who said, why does Mahomes seem so good yet so mid at the same time this year? The Chiefs played their best game of the season against the Bills. Like, the offensive line was blocking. Everything looked good for him. It looked real good for him. And Pat Mahomes was on. Receivers were catching the ball. Like, that's part of why I think he looked mid at certain points this year, because the receivers weren't helping him out a lot. And he was under a lot of pressure at times throughout the season as well. But Buffalo, man, that's heartbreak. That's heartbreak. They had the 4 straight years in the Super Bowl with 4 straight L's. They had the wide right, and then in this game here, you get another wide right situation that could have tied it up.
Well, that motherfucker went like this.
Music City Miracle was against them.
Yeah,
first place, man. They built that stadium on Indian burial ground or something.
It's an old Egyptian cursed item under there. Shit like
they got
that.
voodoo over there. They call it Exorcist.
Taylor Swift was going crazy in the press box.
Man, Jeff said the Bills have sucked since John Beatty came to Green Bay.
Because they kept showing her. Because they just kept showing her. They literally, after damn near every play that they made, if Kelsey made a first down, they showed her in the box. If they made a first down, they didn't have the Kelsey. Pacheco's stomping hard as shit through the grass. That motherfucker be running angry as hell. He really
runs like he bites people. I don't know who said that, but that was accurate. Pacheco runs like he bites people.
He be running mad as hell while he's stomping hard as hell through that damn snow. But I like Pacheco. I really do. But to be fair, the Bills' offensive line was moving the Chiefs' defense. They were moving cats. Putting your head, putting the game on the line with a kicker that's been shaky.
Hey,
man.
We know something about that.
You moving like that, score more than 24 points. That's all I'm saying.
But I mean, that's the answer I got for the Pat Mahomes. Like, I don't know. Like, people were saying like this is Brady and Peyton again, and I'm like,
She won swag surfing, Chella. They was kayaking, canoeing, they was whitewater rafting, they was doing something, they was paddle boating, they was on a gondola. It wasn't swag. It was something, but it wasn't that.
Listen, we can wrap this up with this, because I saw an article and it's talking about the Chiefs viral swag surf video, and it's like the Chiefs didn't make the swag surf viral. The swag surf has been a part of the Black culture since the song released.
We got Columbus.
We always get Columbus. It's always that way. That's when you know something is like either about to be old, outdated, no longer part of the culture once it gets Columbus away from us. I'm not letting them have the swag surf. I refuse.
But shit.
It's theirs now.
Hey, Chelsea was Surfin USA. Yeah, that's what they was doing, because they want swag surfing. Listen, no, that's it. Yes.
Oh, they was wakeboarding. They was doing something.
But let me ask y'all this before we go off and get into NBA. We have the conference championships this week. In the NFC, we have the Lions and the 49ers. In the AFC, we have the Ravens and the Chiefs. What is your Super Bowl prediction?
Black cities.
So Baltimore, Detroit.
Yep. And
Leonardo That's it. That one right there.
Yeah, I got Baltimore and AFC for sure. I honestly think it's going to be 49ers, Baltimore. But I would very much love for it to be Detroit and Baltimore. Jeff asks, If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, does Travis retire also? He's been talking about retirement. It's on the table for sure.
He about to go home and be a house husband.
Boy. Hey. I was telling Sam, I was like, for as much hate as some people give him for being with Taylor Swift, I was like, to be fair, he grabbed the biggest pop artist in this lifetime. Well, this is our lifetime. Like, bro, like you really got Taylor Swift, my guy. That's like if somebody went and grabbed like Jay-Z with Beyonce. Like, you really got her. Like, nothing else matters. Like, I don't give a fuck what you talking about. You wish you had my bit. Like, it is what it is, my guy. I'll be house husband, housewife, whatever the fuck you want to call me. Whatever she want to call me. Fuck what you talking about. Whatever she want to call me, I am that.
Taylor finna go put a baby in him.
Hey, first of many.
All right.
All the little Swifties running around.
All right. Let's swerve back on over to an NBA topic.
Wait, did you pick a winner?
Yeah, I said 49ers
over
Ravens.
Oh, you going with the conspiracy joint? Okay.
I think that is going to be the Super Bowl.
Oh, no. Did you pick a Super Bowl winner, though?
Oh, Baltimore.
Okay.
Baltimore.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I can't let you win now, but Lamar got to get his. If he gets there, he got to get his.
Lamar gets his. Yeah.
So this Thursday,
yeah,
NBA All-Star starters are gonna get named.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you guys to pick your All-Star starters for the East and the West. As a quick reminder, the stars are chosen by composite vote. 50% fans, 25% players, 25% media. The reserves will be chosen by the NBA coaches. So the starters are 2 guards, 3 front court players.
Did I send y'all mine?
And they are going. You said what?
Did I send y'all mine in the group?
No.
As a reminder, they're going back to East versus West as the format. So no more NBA All-Star.
I like the draft aspect, but I get it.
I liked it, but Giannis is the worst GM. So
they changed the rules because he sucked?
Because yeah. Camille, you got yours?
I do. So on Thursday, because TNT is going to be the one, they normally are the one who announce the starters. When the starters are announced, this is what I predict that we will see. In the East, I think you will see Tyrese Halliburton and Damian Lillard listed. And then I think you're going to see Giannis, Embiid, and Tatum for the front court. In the West, I think that's going to be stock. That's actually what we saw in the last fan return. Steph Curry and Luka as your backcourt, and then LeBron, KD, and Jokic as the front court. And the reason that I put Dame in as an Eastern All-Star starter over Trey, who was leading in the fan vote the last return that we saw, is that Dame was very close behind Trey. And Dame hit a big game winner, big Dame time moment before voting closed. Everybody was pumping out the vote Dame in. Like, I think the fan vote numbers is going to go up. And I think that more of his peers will vote Dame in over a Trey. So that's why I picked him.
That's name 5 in the East. Mm-hmm. In the West, I wasn't listening, so if I repeat it, sorry. But LeBron, AD, Jokic in the front court, Steph, and Shea in the backcourt.
Oh, so no Luka, no KD.
God, the West is stacked.
Yeah.
No, I'm going with my 5.
Okay. Tim, who was yours?
I'm gonna go with who I voted for. So I got Lillard and Halliburton in the East. Oh, your 5 in the East. So Lillard, Halliburton, Giannis, Embiid, Tatum. In the West, I got Jokic, LeBron, and AD for sure. But I have Shea and I got Ant Edwards. I believe that the way Ant has been playing has been just fucking crazy. Steph probably gonna get voted in mainly for the hand vote shit like that. But Ant has been just nuclear. Like the shit he been doing and pulling. Shea should be like unquestionable at this point.
I think Shea is definitely going to make the All-Star team. I picked my starters based in part on what we saw from the fan return, because that's 50% of the vote. It's such a heavy piece of it that where Ant was, I don't think that the media and the players can make that up based on how far ahead Luka and Steph were. But I definitely think that Ant-Man is a all-star. I see Jeff in the comments saying, can you guys please talk about the report, the last 2 minutes of yesterday's Wolves game and the 10 missed calls? I don't know what more to say about that, Jeff, other than they missed 10 calls. Anthony Edwards gave one of the realest interviews I've ever heard after a game, where he said that they lost focus, and he mentioned the fact it is very hard to shoot when you only get one shot in the first half, and the second half you expect to do more. He said it's very hard to get into a rhythm. He mentioned the fact that they saw that Cat had it cooking early, and they started feeding him, and he said it was immature as F how they ended up playing, because they lost sight of the game, and they were just trying to feed the hot hand. They wanted to see that guy get 100, and they had a moment. I don't think I have too much more to say about that other than that. Refs missed some calls, and the Wolves lost.
Yeah, refs are human. They can get caught up in a moment just like everybody else. Like, they are more impervious to it, but like they do have human moments and they miss stuff. Also, I can see where it's like some of the stuff that Kat and others were doing was kind of like, I'm not going to reward that. So like I get it, like in the letter of the law, like sure it's a foul, but also if you just like throwing yourself into somebody, like unless your name is, you know, Trey or Shay or James Harden, like and Joel Embiid, like typically like they don't try to reward that stuff. So especially in crunch time. So it's unfortunate, but I don't think it's like a conspiracy against the Wolves. Like the Wolves played a dumbass game.
Yeah. And
they lost a big lead. Like I think that's probably worse than the 10 missed calls. Yeah. To me, at least. Like if the Bucks played that way, I'd be upset. But at the same time, I'd be like, they were also like gunning. And like that was part of the reason why it was that close in the first place.
Yeah. They lost focus. They wanted the guy to have a game. And he had a game and just came in the L. All right. I see KG in the comments said, let's talk about Tebow in this WWE. What Tebow?
So Nick Khan was on Pat McAfee, and he was talking about like how he got involved with WWE in the first place. And it was because he was Tebow's agent. Triple H reached out to Nick Khan like, hey, can we get Tebow to fight Big Show at WrestleMania? He said it was the year that he got released from the Patriots. So I don't know when that was, but it was some time ago. He's like, they had a meeting. It was Tebow, Nick Khan, Triple H, and Vince McMahon. They tried to get a deal. It just didn't come to fruition. Like that was his intro to WWE, and that was kind of like how years later Triple H was like, hey, I think we got something for you. He met with Vince, and that's how he got the job. Which, in light of recent news, like that's the most consequential hire in WWE since probably Hulk Hogan.
All right. And it's been some news. We got, as I mentioned, 2 big wrestling topics of the week here. Tim, take us away. Like the Calgon man.
Like the who man?
Remember Calgon, take me away. Is that before your time?
Apparently. You're no older than
me. I guess that was from my past. I guess I am. I'm old.
Right, so, are we starting with Raw or Rock?
Let's start with Rock.
Hello.
Right. So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson appeared on ESPN's First Take today, and he teased him fighting Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. You said what?
So you burying the lead, ain't you?
Am I burying the lead?
He was named to the board of directors for TKO.
That's what he was on the show for.
Yeah. That's what he was there for. But like, he was on First Take and teasing the WrestleMania talk because they was talking about it in there. But while he was there, as Eric alluded to, he was also talking about him being named on the board of directors for WWE and TKO, who's under Endeavor, and how big of a deal it was for him to be able to, be on the board of directors for a company that his dad and his granddad built and things of that nature, his family built, and so to speak, but also taking over full control of the name The Rock, which to me, I was like, holy shit. They really let you take over like the entire thing, bro. Like all of the merch, all of the residuals, all of the royalties, all of the like everything associated with The Rock, which is for WWE is huge. And not just WWE, because now you're talking about the movie stuff that has The Rock, the action figures that has The Rock, any of the trademarks that has The Rock to it, he owns.
It's his.
He took his masters back.
You want my name?
Now you want me to be on the board? Give me my masters. All right, you got it. Oh, what? That in itself, because we've known for years and years and years, people leave WWE and they can't use their actual name sometimes, the other companies, or they can't use the name that they use in WWE because they have trademarked it and owned it. So for you to be able to take back full control of that, to me, that was part of the biggest thing of the interview. But him being on the board of directors does speak to, okay, we understand you were a big part of this. We understand how crucial you can be. We understand the businessman that you are. You can help propel WWE to even bigger heights than they already are, which to me, that's kind of hard to fathom. But apparently they can go bigger than what they currently are. And then on the wrestling side of it was the tease for WrestleMania, because he wouldn't just flat out say, yeah, that's happening. No, because he still loves the business portion of it. He understands the business. He understands that this is a tease, ladies and gentlemen. As Eric would say. And it's just one of those things where, yeah, he may have teased it, but it kind of gave the confirmation for a lot of folks that were already kind of, this probably gonna happen. Like, nah, we probably getting Roman and The Rock at Mania, which again, huge. So the question, I guess, that would be is, do you feel like it was a build towards WrestleMania, or do you feel like it was just him being the front man for Endeavor and TKO and WWE as, hey, I run the stock market bill and this, that, and the third, so I'm just here being the front man to be able to, kind of give my information, since Roman and Paul Heyman was here before. I'm just another guy from the company coming to talk about the company business.
I think for me, had The Rock not appeared on, what was it, SmackDown?
Mm-hmm.
And he came out when he made the little hint about, I'm about to go out to eat. Where should I sit? I'm gonna sit at the head of the table. And I was like, oh, like if we didn't have that piece of it, and then now we see him on First Take teasing about the fact that, hey, if me and Roman do this, it's the biggest match at WrestleMania. Like,
easily.
That's what he's saying. So I think there's some smoke. I think there is something here that might be coming. And then with the news of Seth Rollins injuring himself legitimately and looking to get back in time for WrestleMania, I do wonder if that makes WWE be like, hey, in case this does not work out with Seth in this injury, we really need to make sure that we have like a big match for number 40. This is WrestleMania 40. And we need to have something. I could definitely see them putting the pressure up to try to make the Rock Roman bloodline angle happen.
To me, that signal that Cody is never finishing that story. At least it ain't happening in this spring. No, I think that we had a conversation, I want to say it was 2 weeks ago. Whenever he made that comment, we kind of debriefed. It's kind of like, like storyline makes sense, and is it coming in? But like all these machinations. And then I just thought, like, after we got off the show, I just thought about like the poster, and it's like, it's Rock and Roman. Like, that is an instant like box office.
Yep.
I was gonna say sellout, but it's already sold out. Like it's like, that's the biggest match that they can put on. Like, no disrespect to Cody, but it's like that kind of takes the business takes a back seat to, the storyline takes a back seat to the business. Like, if you can put on the biggest marquee, like, no, Vince isn't still in charge, but his disciples are. And like, the biggest thing for Vince was always like, what can I put on the poster to sell this thing? And like, maybe it is a triple threat with Cody, but it's like that kind of dilutes the bigness of it, because you want to see The Rock against Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? Like, that's the marquee. That's the thing. And especially like with Seth now being hurt, like, if you make the other championship the night one main event and make that a triple threat with Seth, Punk, and who am I forgetting? Cody. Like, if Seth can't make it back, then you still have a big championship match. Night one that has backstory. They had their little promo battle yesterday. Like their story there. Cody can still win his big championship. Like it's not the big belt that he's, staked his story to, but you can still make it work, even if it's not what you had envisioned a year ago, because like bigger shit came along and plans change. I also thought the funny thing is like The Rock is technically Triple H's boss now. Which is funny.
Yeah. That's
given
funny.
their shared history.
Shut up.
I think it was a tease. I don't think that they'll keep bringing the thing up if it's not going to happen, because you can't promise something and then not deliver.
Yeah, and it's First Take. Like you on ESPN, like something's about to shake, and they shook something else up too, because we talked about Netflix and chill.
Boy, how you go be Netflix and Raw?
It already was, my brother. It already was.
I was just saying, now you got even more of that shit. We watching Raw? You talking about me or the TV? So, with that being said, WWE RAW is moving from broadcast TV to Netflix in January 2025. The deal is valued at more than $500 million per year for 10 years, or if you're good at math, $5 billion.
Billion with a
billion dollars.
With a billion
money like that?
Yeah, they got money like that. So to say, WWE's current 5-year deal for U.S. rights to Raw with NBC Universal is approximately worth $250 to $260 million per year.
They doubled up.
Boy. So the current deal with NBC Universal has Raw airing on USA Network until October of 2024. And according to an individual with knowledge of the situation, exactly what Raw will be aired between the end of that deal and the beginning of Netflix is still to be determined. So it's kind of weird that it's going to be like in flux for 3 months.
I would imagine it just stays on the USA. Like they got SmackDown,
they have shit for free.
Like the relationship is still there.
It's extended for a couple months.
Right.
But that's for them to move over to Netflix. And the talk mainly was Amazon for a minute. That's still crazy to go over to a streaming platform like that.
It's been on, yeah.
That I will say that's kind of been a hallmark of WWE throughout their history. Is that they're kind of at the forefront of technology. Like, not saying that Netflix is, something new, but like Netflix moving into live programming is new for them. But if you think back to like even cable TV, like they were one of the first, like wrestling was one of the first staple programs on cable TV. Pay-per-views, they kind of revolutionized that market. The WWE Network, when it launched, was kind of like, that was the new, like, we'd had Netflix as like a standalone streaming, but like for somebody to go into their own streaming platform, again, that was new. Even joining Peacock, like they licensed out their material that way. So like this is part and parcel for like WWE throughout their history. Now I think it's a good bet. Like shit, $5 billion over 10 years. Like,
hey, that's why they put that clause in there. Jeff mentioned it too, but Netflix can opt out after 5 years or extend 10 more years because, like you said, this is a big financial investment.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you still give me $2.5 billion if you opt out after 5. Like that's still
a lot.
So next chunk of change.
Like even if Netflix opts out, like somebody's gonna want it because it's live rights.
And they get the eyes on them, bro. And if they plan on expanding and being bigger, like The Rock said on First Take, like it's gonna be worth it. Somebody ain't getting them eyes and them views, and it's gonna be well worth it to bring over, especially the WWE program like Monday Night Raw, like that. Like even if it's not Netflix, like they may end up going back over to Prime if they decide to opt out or whatever the case may be.
But I mean, like with it being TKO now, like you can package UFC and WWE. Like I think that for right now, like they're trying to keep them separate. But like if you go to ESPN at one point, like, hey, we got these two mammoth brands that we can put live programming on your platforms, like which is guaranteed eyeballs for 52 weeks a year. Like I think that's the biggest selling point for WWE television products is that you got 52 weeks a year of programming that's guaranteed to give you X amount of views, X amount of dollars. So and they don't have to do anything. All they gotta do is put it on their TV. Like WWE produces everything, so you don't have to like invest in the actual production of the television. It's just like, we paying y'all put y'all stuff on my TV, and then we bring in ad dollars. Like,
I wonder if the wrestlers are like, hey, yo, we see these deals y'all got, my guy. What's with this pay scale?
What's something that has been saying, like, apparently they have been trying to lock up a lot of superstars. Like, they've been throwing out contracts, and we're trying to lock people up for the next few years. I don't know what those numbers are looking like, but I do know that they have been trying to lock people up. And then as we wrap up, international markets with this deal coming with Netflix getting WWE, not in the USA and a couple other countries, but for other international markets, Netflix will be the home of everything WWE. So that means SmackDown will be on Netflix. NXT will be on Netflix. They're going to have all the documentaries. How Peacock has all that stuff. In international markets, Netflix is going to have that, which makes me wonder, once the Peacock deal is up, is that something that WWE is going to look to do and transition their library over to Netflix, which Peacock has done a terrible job, in my opinion. With it. Like, the WWE network was gold. You could like skip through matches. You could figure out what you wanted to do. Like, it was organized better. Now it's like, I don't even know where to find stuff. So Netflix, you got to give me something better. Like, I feel like Netflix can do it. So we'll see how that goes once their deal with Peacock and NBC runs up. Jeff added, a lot of talent is not happy with the pay. I bet they're not for how many days they work.
Shit, you got me working 365, and then you talking about, nah, bro, I see you making $500 million a year. No, bro, I need some of that.
It hasn't been made official yet, but I did see a rumor that Okada from New Japan might be making the jump to WWE, and like that would be the biggest Japanese signing since Nakamura. I mean, like, I don't think they've had that many since then, but like, it's on par. Like, that has been like Japanese Cena basically in NJPW. So if he does come over, like, that's a big get for them, and I would hope that they treat him like the star that he is, because I've seen snippets of it. Like, I'm not tapped into that Japanese scene like that, but like,
no, my boy,
like, he's him. Right.
No, God is firing. We got the Rumble on Saturday, and
his contract's not until the end of the month.
I thought it was up already.
Nah.
The 31st.
He announced that he was leaving, but his last matches aren't until the end of the month.
Yeah. So WrestleMania would be a more realistic launching spot if he comes over. And I think Shinsuke's been hinting towards that a little bit with some of his promos that he's been mentioning, like Chaos, and that's something that they apparently use over in New Japan. So we shall see. Royal Rumble is on Saturday. We do have 5 spots left in the pool. Eric, if you want to plug that as we get ready to wrap up here.
Yes, so we still have 5 open spots for our Royal Rumble pool this Saturday. You just have to enter the pool by the end of Friday night, essentially. You can do that a number of ways. You can email us, technicalfilepod@gmail.com. You can, if you're in this live stream now, you can just enter your name or say, hey, I wanna enter as a comment. We'll take care of it from there. You can also find some of our social media posts that talk about the Royal Rumble, or you can just add us, like, however, even as individuals or the Technical File pages on Twitter, Instagram, or which one I'm forgetting, Facebook.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Well, that wraps up the show for this week. Oh, go ahead.
Rules. The Royal Rumble pool means that if we assign you a number, if the wrestler comes out at your assigned number, wins the match, you win the pool. We're giving away Technical File merchandise. We'll let you pick one thing from our website to within reason and we'll pay for it and send it to you.
Big facts. And with that, we will wrap up. Again, thank you very much for tuning in to Tech File this week. As a reminder, Triple T you are in. As a reminder, show us what that word of mouth do. Share the show with somebody. Put us on, because people can listen to your opinion a little bit more than ours since we are on this show. We appreciate y'all. And man, what a day, what a week. I love the fact that we get to talk about sports and people tune in to listen to our thoughts and interact with us. This is cool. Parting words of wisdom. I'm just going to say I finished Echo on Disney Plus, and how the name comes about for the Echo was very touching. It had me all in my feels. It was beautiful, and I say that as I get ready to celebrate my granny's birthday, who passed away some years ago, and the reminder is that she's echoing through me and through our family, and that's a beautiful message for all of those who might have lost somebody. They continue to echo on through us. So I'll leave it with that. Social medias. If you want to follow me, you can catch me.
Wait a minute.
On the Twitter, the Instagram, these PSN 2K streets at Camille Monet, CAMILLE MONAE.
Jeff, if you want to fly us out, we'll be happy to take you up on that. But otherwise, I don't know if a group trip to WrestleMania is in the cards. But yeah, you can find me at Buckspinner on Twitter.
That's all you get.
That is all that you get.
K Harris, the gentleman, is not here, but K Harris 216 on Instagram.
No,
that's the Twitter.
Twitter, everyday_gentleman on Instagram and Snapchat.
And I guess it's your boy. I don't guess I know it's your boy TIMKINZ, the number 3. Let me be quiet. My boy sleeping, aka Ass Catch him, aka Mr. Give It To Me. We'll holla.
Appreciate y'all. Have a good one.